We'll start with a guided meditation. You can do this with your eyes open. You can do it with your eyes closed. Whatever feels most natural and normal for you. Bringing your awareness to your breath, in through your nose, out through whatever feels most natural and normal. And just begin to notice how the breath feels. Begin to notice where your mind is. Not judging it, just simply noticing it. And let us begin with some box breathing. So if you are not familiar with box breathing, we're going to inhale at a tempo anywhere between 4 to 7 seconds. You decide. You inhale at a tempo for 4 to 7 seconds. You hold your breath at the top for that same duration. And then you exhale for 4 to 7 seconds, and then you hold your breath at the bottom for that same tempo. We call that box breathing. And whenever you are ready, begin that now. Everyone's doing this self-tempo, inhaling through the nose, expanding, activating that diaphragm, and then releasing that breath, belly button driving into the spine. And then again, holding that breath at the bottom. And we're going to do this for about 90 seconds or so. And every time you inhale, expand the diaphragm ever more. Every time you exhale, release that breath, letting go of the breath, letting go of any physical tension. "60 more seconds here. Beginning the process of presencing the mind and the body, letting everything else go. Completing 2 more rounds of the box breathing, and then allowing your breath to come back to its normal rhythmic pattern. Doing a great job. Feeling the energy. And after that second round, just allowing that breath to come back to its normal rhythmic pattern. And for a moment, just remembering why you decided to come. Why are you here? What would make this workshop so freaking epic for you? How do you want to walk out of this building, of this room? Just go ahead and begin to identify how you want to be feeling by the end of this 60, 75 minutes or so. And just decide to give that to yourself. For no other reason than you can. single moment, using your awareness of your surroundings, of the other 11 or 12 people in here, and just really notice everybody's energy, their real energy. Notice their real energy, not what their face might project or what their words might portray, but really feeling everybody's true essence. Every single one of you in here, feel it. Notice it. Everyone in here is full of unconditional love. Whether you're aware of it or not, it is true. Everyone in here wants to live a happy life and wants to help other people live a happy life. Really feel into that and allow everybody's energy in here to lift you up, to elevate you throughout the next 60 or so minutes. Because this could potentially be the most transformative 60 minutes of your entire life. You can give that to yourself. Not because of me, not because of anything I say, but simply because you can do that by simply deciding to make it so. You can keep your eyes closed. You can open your eyes. Whatever feels best for you. You can go in and out, eyes open, eyes closed. But most of the workshop is going to be kind of spoken in this guided meditation type of way. And then towards the end, we're going to make this very practicable and practical. The title is Self-Hypnosis for Health, Vitality, and Confidence. I should have really called it Self-Hypnosis for Confidence, because I think that feeds into absolutely everything. If you feel confident, you will do the due diligence to ensure you are moving your body appropriately. You will do the due diligence to figure out what foods you should be eating more of, what foods you should be eating less of. You'll get the necessary help. It all just boils down to that one word, confidence. By a show of hands, has anybody done hypnosis before? Put your hands higher, please. Awesome. By a show of hands, has anybody meditated before? Beautiful. So the way that I see this going is I'm going to look at my computer here. I have 8 points that I want to really speak to lay the foundation to ensure everybody has a solid understanding of hypnosis and really how to use it. And then towards the second half, final quarter of this hour together, we're going to really make this practicable, and you're going to experience self-hypnosis firsthand. And you know you're doing it properly when you feel different. When you close your eyes feeling one way and you open your eyes feeling something different. That's when you know you're doing self-hypnosis correct. I suppose I'll start by sharing what inspired me to get into self-hypnosis, and then I'll share these super transformative 8 points, and then we'll get into the process of you hypnotizing yourself. Actually, a couple steps back. Before I do that, does anybody want to share why they decided to show up here or what they would like to get out of this workshop? If so, just put your hand up and speak. Yes, please.
I'd like to have more self-confidence.
Oh, cheers to that. Amazing. Thank you for sharing. I was very confident of you. Does anybody else want to be confident and share? Whether it's a word or you can just energetically transmit it to me. Yes?
It's a good reminder. Not everything in life is perishable, if you will.
It's crazy.
So,
Life is insane.
You gotta always kind of be working on it.
Totally.
Remind yourself the technique.
For sure, yes, thank you. Yeah, it's a constant practice. Aligning ourselves with the best version, the most confident version of ourselves, it's a constant fucking practice. It's like it never stops. It requires so much what I call spiritual endurance. It doesn't stop. Every single morning you wake up, you're like, man, it sucks. You gotta kind of realign yourself. And when you wake up feeling it sucks, or if you feel it sucks throughout any point of the day, it's not because you're doing something wrong, it's because you're a human. And that's your cue to realign, to show up confident now. Not a second ago, not in 5 minutes, but now. Does anybody else want to share why they decided to come or what they would like to get out of it? If so, yes, about.
Just to learn more about self-hypnosis.
Cool. What do you know about it already?
That it's a way to affect your subconscious.
Yeah.
And then your, as a result, your consciousness.
True.
Yeah.
Love it. Thank you. Can you guys hear me okay back there? Sweet. Yes, sir.
Oh, I just did it. I wanted to do it as kind of a reminder. Not a reminder, but to get back into the practice of self-hypnosis.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you for sharing. Anybody else?
I just had a thought.
Cool. Let's hear it.
So it's not really what you asked for, but I did have a thought based off of what was just shared, is that we're being constantly hypnotized. And so this feels like a way of like reclaiming.
Totally. Hypnotizing yourself intentionally, consciously. So what got me into self-hypnosis? Where do I want to begin? I thought I was going to be a professional football player growing up. So I go play college ball, and I'm an awful human at that age, like 18, 19, drinking, partying, just doing a lot of stupid stuff. Eventually got kicked off, and there goes my dream of playing in the NFL, and it put me in this darker spiral where I'm sleeping on my brother's couch every single night, drinking myself to sleep for like 9 consecutive months. And then I woke up and I heard this voice, and it says, you need to read a book. I'd never read a book in my entire life. Hated school, hated studying, just loved sports. So I Googled books to motivate me. And the first book that came up was Think and Grow Rich. Has anybody read? Legendary book. It's such a classic. And it was the first book that I've ever read. And it just blew my mind wide open. It talks about how the mind can achieve whatever it can conceive and believe. I'm like, what the fuck? I've never been told this. This is insane. And it talks about using affirmations and screaming affirmations in the mirror as you look at yourself. And I'm absorbing all of this, and I'm loving it, and I'm applying everything. And so then that kind of gets me in a much better place where I'm going to school now. I'm actually applying myself. I think I'm going to become a physical therapist because it would make mom and dad proud. And I always just loved the body. I've been in the gym since I was like 10 years old. It just came natural to me. Then I eventually read this book called The Millionaire Messenger by Brendon Burchard. Anybody familiar with him? Yeah, great dude, great book. And it talks about how you can make $1 million sharing whatever it is that you're passionate about. And I'm going to school, and I've always loved the gym. So I was like, all right, I'm applying everything that it tells me to do. So I'm creating a website, creating a fitness blog, sharing meal plans, workout plans. And for the first time ever, I literally feel high on life, where I'm super excited to wake up. I don't want to go to bed because I'm just working on this thing that I'm very passionate about. And then eventually, I didn't know how to make money online at the time, so that just kind of didn't really go anywhere. So I started working as a personal trainer because it just came natural to me. And then I quickly realized that I can give somebody the best workout ever. But if they're not eating well, then they're not going to get the results that they want. And my North Star, ever since I read Think and Grow Rich, my North Star has always been, how can I serve people? How can I be a better servant to the people? It's the thing that literally just, I'm obsessed with it. It's kind of overwhelming. So eventually I was like, all right, well, let me become a nutritionist. If I tell somebody how to work out and how to eat, then that's going to solve all of their problems, I thought. And yes, they got better results. They felt better. They started to perform better. But still, I noticed that there was something missing. If somebody doesn't believe in themselves, if they don't think they're worthy of their success, you can give them the greatest resources ever, but they're still going to squander it. And it was just incredibly frustrating because I would work with people and they would not get the results that I expect them to get because I'm giving them the map to success. And then eventually I reading personal development book after book after book after book, and I read this book called The 3 Magic Words. And I'll, spoiler alert, I'll tell you what the 3 magic words are. It's still a great read. The 3 magic words are, I am, fill in the blank. Whatever you believe yourself to be, that is what you are. And the book talks about how your subconscious mind is influencing roughly 95% of your experience of reality. And how if you can learn how to reprogram your subconscious mind, you can quite literally reprogram how you experience reality without having to change anything outside of you. You change what's inside of you, and everything begins to reflect that. And they talk in that book how hypnotherapy is the most effective way to do this. And so, all right, I'm going to learn everything I possibly can about hypnotherapy. So I go study at the highest accredited school of hypnotherapy, HMI. We have a proud alum named Dr. Joe Dispenza. Is anybody familiar with this stuff? Yeah, phenomenal stuff, right? And so that's what put me on this path of wanting to master self-hypnosis. And after that, I was like, all right, now I have this trifecta: fitness, nutrition, hypnosis. And it's been really, really cool. But then eventually I realized something even beyond the hypnosis component. And I'm just going to sprinkle this in here a little bit because I don't think it's going to influence absolutely everything we talk about. But eventually, I realized even the mind is limited. You can help somebody reprogram their subconscious mind, but if they don't have a more transcendent connection with something bigger than them, then they just get caught up in their fucking head. So you have to be able to transcend your head, you have to be able to transcend your body, you have to become energy, but you also have to learn how to leverage this amazing vessel of ours. So we have to have this yin yang, right? You got to find that balance of being the spiritual, connected to the divine, intuitively guided, but also leveraging this amazing brain of yours and allowing it to serve you rather than you being the servant of it. So that's what inspired me to get into it. What I'd like to get into now are 8 points that will, I think, lay the foundation so we can have a solid understanding of how to apply the self-hypnosis techniques I will guide you all through. How does that sound? Good? Okay. Any questions before I continue? Cool. First, we must understand the difference between meditation and hypnosis, because they are different, but they are kind of similar. The analogy that I like to use is, imagine you're in your car, windows down, driving down the highway, listening full blast to your least favorite genre. And it's fucking blasting. So for me, rock and roll, don't love it. Prefer it to be country or hip hop. But it's rock and roll. So meditation, that scenario, you're driving on the highway, windows down, least favorite song is playing. Meditation is grabbing the volume dial, turning it all the way down. Music's quiet. And now you can become more aware of the wind, of the birds, of your breath, and things are just more relaxed. That's what meditation, more or less, is like, mindful meditation. Hypnosis, on the other hand, same scenario. On the highway, wind is blasting, windows down, least favorite song is playing. Hypnosis is, fuck this song, I'm gonna play my all-time favorite song. And you either connect to Bluetooth, play your favorite song, and now you're just banging out to your all-time favorite song. So rather than just relaxing and just being content with whatever it is, hypnosis is consciously creating your experience. It's something completely different, and it's incredibly empowering. When you really get a glimpse of it, it's so fucking empowering. You feel so confident, you feel so free. And one thing that comes up as I share that, I don't know if this resonates with anybody, but I feel like a big hindrance for some people when it comes to giving yourself the grace, the freedom to be fully empowered, to be fully confident, is sometimes people might feel like they will take advantage of people if they're fully confident and if they're fully empowered. And the truth is, some people, like if I was telling somebody walking down the street, go be the most confident person ever, statistically speaking, some of them might want to create a business that actually hurts people. But you have to have full faith. This would not have attracted you if you hadn't already done the work to purify your heart. And so what we need in this world is more people with a pure heart who are so fucking confident and bold and courageous. That's what we need, and that's really my intention of this workshop, is to have more divinely guided, confident people running around. Because what I see is the spiritual community so pure, so divine, but we're fucking weak. We're weak. We lack the intensity. And of course, it's a balance. You don't want to go too far on either side, but we do want to bring in a little bit of that intensity if we want to have a positive impact, not just on our life, but the people that we love most. So that's the difference. Second thing we have to be aware of. Be aware of your vibration and choose it consciously. I'm going to repeat this a few times so it's crystal clear. Be aware of your vibration and choose it consciously. Do not allow your current circumstances to influence the way that you feel now, because your current circumstances are simply a reflection of how you felt in the past. So if you continue to allow your current circumstances to influence the way that you feel, we just keep repeating the past over and over and over and over again. And the reason understanding that is so paramount to really taking advantage and leveraging self-hypnosis is because let's say you want to hypnotize yourself to healthier. We'll just use that example because that's this class. Let's say you want to be healthier, you hypnotize yourself to be healthier, you imagine, you visualize the sexiest, the strongest, the most aesthetic, the most powerful, the most vibrant you open your eyes, you see the same fucking body. And it's getting older. And there's more wrinkles. And this doesn't look so good. And oh man, it didn't change overnight, so you get upset. But the only reason you're seeing what you're seeing is because of how you felt in the past. So if you allow it to continue to influence, it's just this cycle. So we have to overpower our circumstance with what we want. Continuing on. Exactly what I was saying. Overwhelm your reality with your chosen creation. If you guys are interested in these notes, I can put it in a Google Doc. I can send them to you. Cool? I'll repeat myself. Overwhelm your reality with your chosen creation. Focus your mind and focus your energy like a laser. So, a couple steps back. First off, we have to know what we want. We have to know how we want to feel. And we have to be willing to overpower what we see with our chosen creation. So let's use a different example so it doesn't sound super redundant. Let's say it's wealth. You want to manifest, you want to hypnotize yourself to create more wealth, to create more opportunities for yourself, for your business, for your career, etc. You close your eyes, you do it, you open your eyes, bank account, same fucking number, right? So rather than allowing whatever number you see on the bank account to put you in this cycle, you consciously decide how you're going to feel about it. And that's literally the only way you can influence and change your reality. Otherwise, you're just going to be constantly attracting this scarce reality for yourself. And no matter how hard you work, things are just going to feel like a battle. It's going to feel like a fight. And even like you can fight your way to get more opportunities. You can fight your way to get more wealth. But there's no joy in that. And what the fuck is the point if there's no joy in it? Moving on. Number 4. They all kind of say the same thing. Because there's only a couple of truths here. Care more about feeling good than about any goal. Focus on occupying the state of your wish fulfilled. Is anybody familiar with Neville Goddard? Yeah, phenomenal stuff. He has this teaching where he talks about occupying the state of your wish fulfilled. That's basically what hypnosis is. So I'm going to repeat that once more. Care more about feeling good than about any goal. Focus on occupying the state of your wish fulfilled and don't be attached to the outcome. Again, there's so many ways to point to the moon. Let's see how I want to speak to that one. We have to realize that what we want isn't the body or the bank account or the relationship. We want the feeling that we associate with those things. And we can just give ourselves a feeling instantaneously by simply deciding to feel that, or by breathing into it, or by visualizing and imagining yourself into it, or qigonging into it, or sound bowls into it. There's so many different ways. The most immediate way, the fastest way, is just to simply realize that you are the one infinite creator of all that is, and just give it to yourself now. It's kind of a hack there. And that's why I think self-hypnosis is so powerful. It feels like the most immediate thing. It doesn't take long. The more you do it, the better you get at just completely shifting the way that you feel. At first, it might feel like it takes, 20 minutes to get to your ideal state. And then you fire and wire the new neural pathways, and they get stronger and the old ones get weaker, right? And then you can jump into that confident way of living, of being, of experiencing and feeling in 15 minutes, and you just do it more and more and more and more and more. And the exercise that I'm going to walk you guys through at the end of this, whenever I first discovered this, I was doing this shit like 10 times a day. Like 10 times a day, just constantly prioritizing feeling my absolute best. Constantly prioritizing it. I'll probably talk a little bit more about it later, but like using every transitionary period in my day as a new opportunity to remember who the fuck I am and what I'm doing, and then align with what I call Drew 2.0. So every time I would get out of the car, boom, pause, 30 seconds, empower, align, visualize, breathe. Before I would answer a call, before I would eat food, before like I transitioned into something, just reactivated and remembered. Otherwise, the longer you go away from it, then old shit just creeps up. And the conditioning, the environment, it's so strong. And it'll pull you in quick. It'll pull you in, and it's hard to get out. But you can get out. That's what's cool about it. You can get out no matter what. Moving on. Prioritize the non-physical more than the physical. Imagination is more real than anything else. Let's see what wants to come through for that. Nothing. Continuing on. Here's a very powerful one. Turn your back to fear and lack beliefs the moment you recognize them, and make the shift intense. The moment you notice any type of negative self-talk that's telling yourself you don't look good, you're not good enough, you're fucking stumbling over your words, whatever it is, you just immediately flip the script and you do it intensely. And again, every time you do it, you fire and wire a new neural pathway, and every time you fire that, the other ones fade away, right? We're all hip to that, I presume. So, as I guide you through this self-hypnosis experience, there's going to be a moment where I'm going to encourage you to let go of lack of beliefs, to let go of a fear, a doubt that you've been tolerating for way too fucking long. And it's served you in many ways, and it's amazing, and if you continue to hold on to it, it doesn't make you less than anybody else, but it does limit your freedom. It does limit your ability to be your true potential. So I think that's one of the most empowering things about self-hypnosis, is that immediate experience of, oh, I felt insecure a moment ago, and like now I don't. And again, you get better with it during time. And I think it's important to be aware of, sometimes it might feel like an act, like you're just playing along, and that's okay. Because even if you're playing along with it, you're still experiencing whatever it is that you're playing along. And what do you have beyond your experience? What is there beyond your experience? It's nothing. Okay, 2 more, and then we'll get into a couple more things, and then we'll make this practicable. This one, I suppose, is a bit obvious, but I think many of us forget it, myself included. Living your best life should be your number one priority. Living your best life should be your number one priority. Our priority isn't the way that we look. It's not how much money is in the bank account. It's not who approves of us, or whose feelings we are able to coddle and empower, or whose feelings we hurt. None of that matters. It just literally boils down to, are you prioritizing you living your best life right now? Right now, right now, right now, right now, right now. Prioritizing living your best life. You have to have that foundation to ensure that the self-hypnosis experience is as epic as it can be. The final one, let me take a sip before I say this, because this is the most important. Always feel good and confident. And that's it. You can leave now. Always feel good and confident. I think a lot of us, whenever we hear that, it's like, how the fuck do you do that? I think self-hypnosis is a great way to do it. I think just like being around people you love and telling them that you love them, and eating good foods and moving your body. There's many ways to do it, but you can just choose to feel good and confident now before you have the things that you want. And then eventually, better things will come into your life, and you'll have even more reasons to feel good and confident. But then you have to even remember that when the good things are there, I don't feel good and confident just because the good things are there. Like, a lot of us, we think it's difficult to feel good and confident when things are hard. But it can sometimes be even more challenging to feel good and confident when everything is going right. Because when everything's going right, you're just like, what the fuck's wrong with me? If I don't feel good and confident, I have money, I have a relationship, I have blood support, health, amazing dog, children, whatever it is. Okay, let me take a couple breaths. Doing good on time. Take a couple breaths. See what else I'd like to add there. And then we'll move on. Does anybody have any questions before I continue? Please.
Is telling yourself to always feel good and confident denying when you feel like shit? Like, if you're using it in a way where you're like, God, this fucking sucks, and you have this like, oh, but I'm good and confident. Are you just smushing that down and you gotta deal with it later?
No, absolutely not. It's not a bypassing.
Okay.
Like I believe you can feel good and confident amidst some fucking chaos going on.
Okay.
Like turmoil and insane things happening. And it's feeling good and confident that you know things will be changing in the future. But I think you can't bypass anything. You can try, but like it's always gonna fucking creep up. So if something needs to be dealt with, it will keep coming up. But if something doesn't need to be dealt with, then yes, you can bypass it. And if it does need to come up, then it will. Does that answer your question?
It does.
Cool.
It kind of sounds like don't do it in spite of it.
You're right, yeah. You don't. It's not like lying to yourself. It's just recognizing amidst the craziest of circumstances, you can still feel good and confident. Do you believe that?
I do.
Okay, great.
I am confident.
Sure, yes, perfect, amazing. Even like parents die, you can still choose to feel good. And crying and being brokenhearted can still simultaneously feel good. Any other questions? If so, raise your hand. If not, I shall continue. Cool. I'll take a couple breaths, see what else I want to add there. Yeah, I definitely don't want it to feel like we're trying to bypass or to lie about the way that we feel, because that's not it at all. It's just recognizing that we can change now. We can change now, we can change now. Okay, before we get a taste of the self-hypnosis, I want to talk about the 4 most common traps that slow down transformation. So trap number 1, when it comes to taking ownership of your life and doing what needs to be done to put yourself on this path to living your dream life, I think one of the most common traps is the fear of moving beyond your community. And community meaning whether it's a relationship, whether it's literally your neighborhood, whether it's family, whether it's friends. We've spent so much time building our community, and it's so near and dear to us that sometimes people create this story that if I choose to stop drinking, then I can no longer hang with my friends, or there's various examples of that. But kind of speaking to this idea, you can't bypass anything. If a relationship is meant to be, it shall be. If there's really that solid connection and that unconditional love, they'll give you the grace and the freedom to leave and then come back and all the things in between. So we have to be mindful of not allowing that fear, that hesitation to prevent us from being our most confident self. Second one, this is a bit vague, so I'll do my best to explain. A common trap that gets in people's way is not being able to discern guidance that comes from the physical mind versus guidance that comes from the higher mind. Let me take a couple breaths and see how I'd like to speak to that. Cool. I suppose an example might be, let's use the health again. The physical mind wants to weigh 135 pounds or whatever the number is. The physical mind wants that, wants the aesthetic to look a certain way, but the higher mind just wants to feel good, just wants to feel radiant, just wants to feel fit and strong. And if you get too caught up in, we can call the egoic desires, then it's going to feel challenging as you pursue that goal, because it's going to require that you do a lot of restrictions and that you sabotage yourself in many ways. And one of my favorite ways to discern guidance that comes from higher mind, from intuition, or guidance that comes from your conditioning, your programming. Is anybody familiar with Bashar? Beautiful. So he has this amazing teaching he calls the emotional guidance system. And it shows you how to discern guidance that is true for you versus guidance that is just a story that you read in a book or somebody else told you, right? And the way you use the emotional guidance system is you notice a thought, you ask yourself, how does that thought make me feel? And if that thought makes you feel any type of restriction, any type of like separation, that's your higher mind, the all-knowing within you that can see far into the future and far into the past. That's your higher mind telling you, no, it's the higher mind hitting the big red button. Whatever you are believing to be true is not true. Even if you can rationalize it to the end of time. Even if everybody in your family, even if your entire community will say that's true. Your higher mind is telling you, if it's making you feel restricted. And on the opposite, if you have a thought that makes you feel free, your chest wide open, smile come across your face, that's your higher mind saying ding, 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 ding. Whatever you are believing, whatever you are buying into, whatever you are thinking, that is true. That is true, even if you can't rationalize it, even if it doesn't make sense. It is true for you. So a big mistake is falling into those physical mind desires as opposed to the higher mind's desires. Second common trap, we spoke to it many times on those 8 points, but we'll reiterate it. A common trap is believing that your reality needs to change before you can feel the way that you want to feel. Another common trap is tolerating negative self-judgment. We have to get to this place, like I call it radical self-love. You have to get to this place of just radically, obnoxiously loving your fucking self. Not for other people, not to make anybody else feel good, but to give you that empowerment. And because you are divinely guided, because you've done the necessary work to purify your heart, when you are empowered, you will do great things. Most of the negative self-judgment comes from comparison. And that's a common trap. Comparing yourself, getting on social media, and buying into the highlight reels, as they call it, right? The highlight reels are not real. Okay, what we're going to do, we're going to do a couple mental exercises. It's not hypnosis, just a couple mental exercises to get you all familiar with following instructions. Okay, so when I ask you to feel a type of way, give yourself the freedom to feel that. When I ask you to think of something, allow yourself to think of it, and just know there's no wrong way of doing this. Okay. So we'll do that, and then I'll walk you through a little hypnosis experience, okay? And just give yourself the grace to go all in on the guidance, knowing that my intention is to fucking elevate you to your most high. That is my intention. You have to have trust and faith in that. Otherwise, you're gonna, is this guy trying to take advantage of me? No, I would have done that already. Just kidding. But I'll walk you through a little hypnosis experience, and then after that, I will kind of reverse engineer the process so that you can understand how to do it at home. Is that clear? Yes or no?
Yes.
Does anybody have any questions before we continue? Cool. All right, so in a moment, not yet, I'm going to ask that you interlace your hands just like so. It's a knuckle sandwich. And then you're going to lift that knuckle sandwich in alignment with your nose, about eye level. And you're just going to hold it there. Okay, not yet, but in a moment. When I say the word up, this is what I'm looking for. Any questions on that, yes or no? Okay, when I say the word open, what you're going to do is you're going to open both index fingers about an inch apart, and you're going to focus all of your attention and your gaze at the space in between your fingers. Any questions on that, yes or no?
No.
All right, this is not hypnosis. This is just us doing a little mental exercise for me to see the way you guys follow instructions. Up. Holding that knuckle sandwich. In a moment, not yet, I will say the word open, and you focus on that space in between. Open, noticing that space in between. I want you to imagine or visualize as if there was a magnet on both ends of your fingers tugging and pulling those fingers tighter and tighter and tighter. And the more focused you get, those fingers start to slowly move in towards each other. And the more you begin to feel that tugging sensation, the slower they begin to come, ever so gently. Just noticing the fingers moving closer and closer and closer and closer, keeping your gaze right in between those fingers, taking your time. There's no right or wrong way. And I want you to really imagine as if those fingers are coming in, noticing that tugging and that pulling sensation. And the more you notice it, the more intense it begins to feel. Taking your time, slightly moving those fingers in, tighter and tighter, tighter and tighter. And eventually those fingers will come together, tugging and pulling ever so gently. The closer they get, the more focused you feel. And the more focused you feel, the closer they get. Tugging and pulling, tugging and pulling, tugging and pulling. And the fingers are moving closer together. And if the fingers are touching, that's great. If they're not touching, allow those fingers to touch now. And now I want you to imagine or visualize as if there is a brass ring. Imagine or visualize as if there is a brass ring around your fingers. And with each inhale and with each exhale, that brass ring begins to shrink, getting tighter and tighter, getting tighter and tighter, as if those fingers become one, solid and stuck. And once you are confident that if you were to try to open up those fingers, they wouldn't even nudge. And you have to be confident that if you were to try, they wouldn't even nudge. You can go ahead and try. You can try to open them, but just notice the tension. And you can stop trying, allowing those fingers to come back. Noticing your breath, releasing the tension in your fingers. Completely release the tension and go ahead and relax your hand on your thighs in a comfortable position. Hands completely relaxed. Okay, what I want you to do now is I want you to find an area on the wall, somewhere over here, on a 45-degree angle. It can be a real spot, it can be an imaginary spot, but I want you to focus your eyes on one spot. And if your eyes wander, you just bring them right back. And as you focus all of your attention on that one spot, begin to be aware of your breath. Begin to be aware of your eyelids. blinking. And the more focused you get, perhaps you'll notice the eyelids beginning to blink more and more, and that's natural and that's normal. In a moment, I'm going to cue everyone to inhale. Big inhale. On the count of 3, we will do a big inhale, and then you'll just simply release. And we're going to rinse and repeat that over and over and over again, still focusing on that one spot. On the count of 3, big inhale together. 1, 2, 3, big inhale together, expanding that diaphragm. Once you reach the peak, just release, still focusing on that one spot. We're going to do that 3 more times. Whenever you're ready, right back into that inhale, expanding that diaphragm, and then big release. Let's do it 2 more times together. Big inhale, still focusing on that one spot. Big exhale. 1 more time. On this final breath, I want you to hold your breath at the top for 5 seconds. Holding your breath at the top for 4, for 3, holding your breath for 2, 1, release. And as you release, gently close your eyelids, releasing that breath, releasing any physical tension in the body, releasing any mental and emotional tension with the mind. And I want you to imagine or visualize as if you were to close your eyelids for a second time. And just notice how relaxing that feels. Closing your eyelids for a second time. Allowing your eyelids to feel so relaxed, so loose, that they feel completely limp. They feel so relaxed that if you were to try to open up your eyelids, they wouldn't even budge. And once you are confident that if you were to try, you can go ahead and try and just notice what happens. And then you can stop trying, keeping your eyelids closed. In a moment, not yet, I'm going to ask that you bring up an image or a vision of you looking down a flight of stairs. And there's going to be 10 steps going down. Not worrying too much about the details and instead simply noticing how you feel. So go ahead and create that image or that vision now. You're looking down a flight of stairs. There's 10 steps going down. And you can feel that looking down sensation throughout your entire body, as if you were looking over a balcony or something steep. And in a moment, I'm going to count down from 10 to 1. And with each descending number I count in your mind's eye, taking 1 step down that staircase. And each step you take, causing your mind and your body to feel more and more relaxed. Beginning that countdown, starting with the number 10, taking that first step. 9, feeling more and more relaxed. Give yourself the experience of letting the body and the mind go. 8, deeper and deeper, more and more relaxed. 7, just sinking into your body. The legs feeling completely relaxed. The back feeling completely relaxed. 6, letting it all go. 5, twice as relaxed as you were just moments ago. 4, deeper and deeper, more and more relaxed. 3, give yourself the gift of being present now, of releasing the body now. 2, 1, taking that final step and just noticing the way that you feel. And all we're doing here is speaking to the subconscious now. The analytical mind begins to fade away. The analytical mind is full of doubts and stories and insecurities. The subconscious mind is full of empowerment and freedom and limitlessness. Now, in a moment, what we're going to do is we're just going to completely let go of who we think we are. We're going to completely let go of any insecurity or any limiting belief that you are willing to let go of. So go ahead and take a moment and tune into what limiting belief or doubt or fear or hesitation or insecurity are you ready to let go of right now? Just tune into what that is. Perhaps you get an immediate answer. Perhaps you gotta look for it. But knowing what it is now, in a moment, I'm going to again count down from 10 to 1. And this time, with each descending number I count, what you just decided to let go of will begin to evaporate from your body, will begin to fade away and melt. The insecurity, the fear, the lack of belief will literally be gone from your body, and you're going to give yourself that gift of spontaneous becoming, healing. Starting with the number 10, allowing it to fade and noticing how it influences your breath, your posture, and everything in between. 9, 8, letting it fade away, deciding to let it go. 7, you no longer need it. It's no longer serving you. 6, feeling freer, feeling lighter right now. 5, come on. 4, choosing now to let it go. Choosing now to let it go. 3, if there's anything lingering around, decide to drop it. Decide to drop it. 2, let it go. 1, releasing it. Like a blank piece of paper. A new chapter. A new beginning. And with this clean piece of paper, now it is time to consciously create. There's no stories of the past on this piece of paper. It is clean, ripe for the picking. So in a moment, this is going to be the most powerful experience that you've ever had. In a moment, I'm going to ask that you bring up an image of the healthiest, the most confident, the most courageous, abundant, successful version of you. He or she will be standing directly in front of you. And you're going to notice everything about them, what they're wearing, what they look like, and everything in between. So go ahead and bring up that image now. The 2.0 you, healthiest, the happiest, the most successful you is standing right in front of you. And just notice. Notice how brilliant they are. Notice how beautiful they are. Notice the energy that radiates from them, the smile on their face. Notice what they're wearing. Notice that just by looking at them, you can become aware of their thoughts and their beliefs and their habits. It exudes. And notice the most important thing. Notice that the only thing that is different between the 2.0 you and the person sitting down, listen to me carefully, the only thing that is different is a shift in attitude and behavior. Everything else is the exact same. So in order to create that reality, in order to bring it here and now, all you have to do is align your attitude and behavior with theirs. And you can do that. And you will do that. And in a moment, the way we are going to do that is I'm going to count up from the numbers 1 to 3. And when I get to the number 3, that's going to be your cue to hug and embrace the 2.0 you. And when you hug and embrace the 2.0 you, it's going to be this immediate visceral shift in every cell in your body where you will begin to breathe like them. Your breath will change. You will be sitting in this posture, very comfortable posture. You will be sitting like them. You will begin to think like them. Every cell in your body will begin to vibrate at the frequency of them. And I want you to embrace them. And I want you to give yourself the freedom to be absolutely delusional and courageous on this transition, where you jump parallel realities, you jump timelines. It's spontaneous transformation. You can give that to yourself. You're worthy of it. You deserve it. And by giving that to yourself, you're only going to empower and serve and love even more. And love even more. Make other people feel loved. So in a moment when I get to the number 3, that's your cue to hug them. And I want you to hold on to that hug. Starting with the number 1 in your mind's eye. Standing up. 2, looking at him or her directly in their eyes. Both of you knowing what is about to occur. Feeling excited. Anxious. Confident. 3, hugging them. Holding on to them tight. Feeling that immediate shift in your breath. Feeling that immediate shift in your body. Feeling that immediate shift in the way that you feel. I'm going to count up from 1 to 10, each increasing number. More and more and more of your state of being will align with the 2.0 you. And by the time I get to the number 10, it will be complete union. Every cell in your body will be completely aligned with the 2.0 you. Starting with the number 1, turn it up like a volume dial. Make it intense, make it bold, make it courageous. 2, feeling that breath aligning with the 2.0 you. 3, beginning to vibrate as the 2.0 you. 4, you turn it up. Have some fun with this. 5, turn it up even more. Perhaps a smile begins to take over your face as you feel that shift, as you feel that alignment. 6, having some fun with this, making it playful. 7, turn it up, turn it up, turn it up. Come on. Turn it up, turn it up, turn it up. Come on. 8, giving yourself the gift of being aligned now. Feeling the way that you want to feel now. 9, bring it all together. Complete union. 10, releasing that hug. Looking at your equal. Take a moment and thank them for whatever you need to thank them for. Thank them for their courage, for their strength, for their vulnerability, for their curiosity, for their discipline, for their willpower. Thank them for whatever you want to thank them for, because whatever you are thankful for, you create more of. And once you complete thanking them, give them one last hug. Kiss them on the cheek. Tell them you fucking love them. You're so proud of them. You're so honored that they do what they do. And then releasing that hug from your mind's eye. Or releasing that hug in your mind's eye. Coming back to the way that you feel. And just take a moment and notice. Notice what has shifted. And notice, how is the 2.0 you going to show up for the rest of this evening? How is the 2.0 you going to show up tomorrow as the Chiefs beat the 49ers? How is the rest of you going to show up next week? How are you going to show up in your life over the next few days? Just tune into that. Releasing any image or vision that came up for you. Just noticing Noticing how you just gave yourself that gift. And it's not because of the words that I use, it's just simply you decided. And every time you give yourself that gift of aligning, you're creating new habits, new connections in the brain, old ones fading away. And the more you do this, the longer that 2.0 feeling lingers. And yes, you will notice yourself, the 2.0 might fade away. But that's just an opportunity to get stronger at aligning. So in a moment, I will count up from the numbers 1 to 5. When I get to 5, gently opening your eyes, you're going to feel wide awake, empowered, excited, eager and confident to go live the 2.0 life. And it's going to happen. You're going to live with confidence, whether you believe it or not. It is done, it is done, it is done. Starting with the number 1, coming back to your mind and body. 2, remembering where you are. Remembering that we are sitting cross-legged for 90 minutes. 3, moving your body around. 4, 5, gently opening your eyes, wide awake. Does anybody want to share anything that came up for them? If so, raise your hand. Cool. Everybody's 2.0 self. Quiet. You want to share? Yes, sir.
I get good hugs.
You give good hugs.
I can say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Feel really good.
Cool.
Kind of like electric.
Cool. Sweet. That's a great feeling. I like that. Yes, ma'am.
I could just, I've been needing a new phrase to put. I keep a board in my office. How are you gonna show up?
Yeah.
I liked that one. I was like, that's very triggering.
Cool. I love it. Thank you. Okay. We're running tight on time, so let me take a couple breaths, see how I want to wrap this up. So really the intention with that exercise, with those visualization things, is to let go of the bullshit, of the stories, and then to align with the way that you want to show up. And again, we turn that into a habit. We turn that into a habit. And I would love for everyone here to begin to practice that in your own way, out and about in the real world, so you can begin to show up as the most confident you. You can begin to serve others more powerfully. And so, best way that I think we can do this, couple things. You guys on Instagram? Yeah? Cool. So reach out to me if you don't know. If you're not on Instagram, reach out to Kathy if you guys are interested. I can give you these 8 tips. And I can also give you a recording of something that I just walked you through, kind of a variation of that. So you can you can do that on your own, and you can just familiarize yourself with this process of presencing, releasing, embodying, and living. So if you're interested in that, just send me a message. I can send it to you. But the self-hypnosis, the 3-pronged process here, the way you can do this at home, you can listen to the recording, that can help you. But the phrases that I like to use is clean up, tune up, act up. Clean up, tune up, act up. And that's kind of what I just walked you through there. Cleaning up, meaning presencing yourself. And presencing yourself, it's a word we all use, but the impact of it's palpable. Like when you presence yourself, what that means is like you cut the cord of the past and you cut the cord of the future. And it's this pure limitless potential. And it's like the most palpable experience ever. And when you do that, it's a clean slate rather than trying to build a castle in quicksand. If you just try to for example, if you just I'm confident. If there's that muck there, then you're just falling, you're trying to cover something up. So just take however long it needs to take to remember the beauty of right now. Of right now, everything is perfect. Right now, everything is beautiful. Right now, I have everything I need. So clean it up, tune up, meaning visualize, imagine how you want to show up, and then energetically align. Begin to breathe like them, sit in the chair like them, and you can just play around. You can just like give yourself this weird experience. Like what I like get intense. I start hitting my body. I start like my face gets out of hand. And you can give that to yourself to make it more visceral, because we want it to be in your body. We don't want it just to be here. We want it to be like in every cell of your body. So clean up, tune up, you energetically align, and then act up, okay? What I mean by act up is you have to get out of the chair and now go do something different, right? So if you were feeling insecure, scarce, or whatever it is, and you are aligning with the higher ideal of being confident, now you align with it. Okay, now go do something that resembles that confidence. Like, how does the confident you show up? Do they text him or her? Do they make that post online? Do they offer their services to somebody? Do they create the business? Do they travel? Like, what the fuck do they do? Get up and go do it. And the way that I make this really experiential for myself is I clean up, tune up, and what I like to do to get like my body in motion is I get out of the chair and I literally just start like moving myself and allowing the energy to move me. And because I like exercise and stuff, it'll look like boxing, it'll be jumping up and down, it'll be squats, but I literally just begin to move whatever energy it is that I want to feel. And then I make sure the next thing that I do is in service of whatever it is that I just embodied. So if I wanted to feel more confident, awesome. I'm gonna go send a couple offer messages to some potential clients or whatever it is. We just have to make sure we keep that momentum rolling. So again, clean up, tune up, act up. I have another Google document that I can send you if you guys are interested that explains a little bit more on those. Let me take a couple breaths and see what else I want to say. We're 5 minutes over, so if you gotta leave, don't feel afraid to bounce. But let me take a couple breaths, see what else I'd like to be added. So to give a little context, with the clean up, tune up, act up process, I think a good place to start is to give yourself 5 to 10 minutes to do that. 5 to 10 minutes to clean up, tune up, act up, like 2 to 3 minutes each phase. 2 to 3 minutes each phase. And then what I do now is like I can do it very, very quick. And the goal is to shorten that gap between recognizing something's off or recognizing that you're tolerating something that you know is not actually true, and then aligning with what you know is actually true or with your chosen preference. So that's that. Let me see if there's anything else. Cool. Yeah. To make this more practicable, perhaps challenge yourself for the next 5 to 7 days. Clean up, tune up, act up twice a day. In the morning, in the evening. Just see what happens. See what happens. Or if you're like me, you do it 10 times a day, because I'm a bit obsessive like that. Does anybody have any questions about anything? The share was that good. I covered absolutely everything. Amazing. Okay, let me take a couple more breaths and I'll let you guys leave. Cool, I feel complete. Again, if you guys want the notes, message me. I also have a free community that has a bunch of meditations that you can access. Just message me, I'll invite you there. Also, I offer private coaching, so if that's something any of you are interested in, reprogramming the subconscious mind, being the most confident, badass, strongest, healthiest, wealthiest version of you, just reach out. You can find me. I ain't hard to find. Just Google Drew Diorsi and you'll find me.
Google what?
Drew Diorsi, my name, Drew Diorsi. But without further ado, unconditional love to you all. Thank you all so much for showing up. This was really special for me, and hopefully you enjoyed it. And if you did, go tell the world. If you didn't enjoy it, let that be our little secret. Thank you, guys. You're free to leave.
Thank you.
Yes. You can leave the cushions and stuff, and I will pick it up. Drive safe. Woo! That is.